Hello, my name is Jasim from Jasim's Al-Mosawi Counseling. In this video, we will be talking about grief. And in previous video, we talked about anxiety, depression, and a few other topics. So in this video, we'll be exploring the stages of grief and provide some suggestions regarding grief. And the reason for us we exploring this topic is that there's a lot of issues going on in the world right now, especially with the current pandemic, COVID. And there's a lot of people died, and a lot of people going through process of grief, losing loved ones, or maybe losing a job, or losing saving. So there's a lot of people going through the process of grief, and that's why we want to talk about grief. Grief is a journey. Grief, like somebody who's preparing to take a trip that taking a path, and that's how the process of a grief. In order for us to take the path, in order for us to take a journey, we need to prepare for it. We need to get ready for it. We need to understand that this journey may have some challenges, or may have some obstacles. Grief exactly the same way. Grief is stages. People go through stages, through step by step, until they get into their final destinations. So for example, when people first experience any grief, they go through the first stage. We call it shock and denial. So basically, shock and denial is the person deny completely, or reject, or shocked, feeling shocked that this happened to them, or they lost someone, or they lost their saving, or they lost their job, so they basically in shock. They deny that. They don't accept it. They don't believe that this has happened to them. So this is take a while for the person, to go through this process. And there's actually no time. There's a lot of people asking, is there any time for this process? Is there any time for the person to go through this, through the stages, the stages of shock? No, actually there's no time. Everyone in their own time, everyone in their own process, and depending on the person. It's actually individually. Even within the family, some people in a different stages. Like if the entire family experiencing grief, one person may be in a different stage than the other person. So it's normal for us to really be different in our stages. So the second stage, when the news started to settle in, when we started to really realize that it's really happening, the person is not there anymore, or or we lost our job, or we lost our saving, the person go into the stage of anger. The person become very angry with themselves, angry with the person that they lost, angry with the system, sometimes angry with their faith, angry with their spiritual connections. And so that's the second stage. So we have the denial. The second one will go after the news settle in, will go into the anger, and the anger lead into the bargaining stage, which is the third stage. The bargaining stage, we call it what if stage. The person who started to have a lot of what if stage. The person, for example, trying to go to sleep, or trying to do some job, or trying to do accomplish task, but their mind is going through the process. What if I did this? What if this person did this? What if a lot of what if question. And when the person go through this process of what if question, they normally don't have answer to the what if question. They don't have any conclusion to what if question. So as a result, the person become very depressed, become very sad, become very frustrated, and sometimes they go back into the anger stage. But then they go into the stage which called depression, because they have no answer to what if question. They go into the depression stage, and the depression stage is a very dangerous stage. A lot of people stay longer in that depression stage, and we talked about the symptom of depression in the previous session. So similar symptom that depressions that people going through the process, they have the depression has a similar symptoms is into a typical depression. And then If the person continue to go through the journey and does not stop, does not interrupt the journey, the person finally reach into the acceptance stage. The acceptance stage doesn't mean that the person is gonna be okay 100%. No, but actually in the acceptance stage, the person feel comfortable, feel okay that the person is gone, and they still remember the person. They still have some emotional about the person or their financial or of their job. They still have some emotion, but they accept that the person was there or their financial was there and is not there anymore. So that's the final stage. That's final stage. So we have the shock and denial, we have the anger, we have the bargaining stage, and then we have depression, and then the acceptance. But this journey, a lot of people say, like, can I go through it like a step by step? Like, can I go from the denial into anger into bargaining? No, this step is actually different. The stages are different. They are messed up. They are in mesh. They are like a web. You could go from the depression into the denial. You could go from the bargaining into the anger. You could go from the bargaining into the denial. So it's all over, and until you reach the final destination. So in order for us to prepare for the grief, we have to recognize them. We have to recognize how we feel, and we have to remind ourselves that whatever we are feeling, we need to tell ourselves it's part of the process. It's part of the normal stages. It's part of the grief. In order for us to go through the process, we have to experience this feeling. And it's actually depend on the person. Again, we mentioned earlier that it's like, from one person to other, it's a little bit different. So we cannot rush the stage. We have to prepare for it. We have to be ready for it. We have to take care of ourselves. So when you're taking a trip, you have to fill up your car, your vehicle with gas. You have to clean it up. You have to check the tire. You have to check the oil. The same thing. When we are going through the process of a grief, we're going through the process of we have to be prepared for it. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to do some self-care, exercise, sleep well, remind ourselves that we are going through the process as we're going right now, and it's normal process for us to grieve. It's normal for us to feel the way that we are. We cannot deny our feeling. So these are just a few information about how to manage grief, and I hope that it's helpful for us, and I hope that we don't deny our grief, and every one of us experience grief, and grief is normal. It's actually, grief is not a mental health. It has nothing to do with the mental health. Grief is a normal, phenomena that all we experience in our life. Thank you very much, and hope that helpful. If you have any question, just send us a message through Messenger, through Facebook, or contact us if you need further discussion, or if you would like to book one-on-one session. Please contact us, and we can discuss more specific information. Okay, thank you very much, and this is Jasim from Jasim Al-Mosawi Counseling.